So welcome everybody. I'm Ali Cem. I'm one of the artists who are living in the neighborhood. I'm a filmmaker actually. I'm a director. So you're in Daragaç right now. It is a neighborhood. It's an industrial neighborhood. Used to be an industrial neighborhood. Before the collective, maybe I should start talking about the neighborhood actually. Let's say something like 40, 50 years ago, there were factories around the neighborhood. Manufacturing factories, industrial, mostly industrial factories. So when these factories were operational, functional, the families of these workers, they used to live in this neighborhood. But after all the factories closed, the neighborhood turned into a small industrial zone. Now you have so car repair shops, carpenter shops, and small-scale industrial jobs actually most of these places. So 10 years ago, we started moving in, and the story started like this. We had one friend, she was doing auto portraits, like 3 meters, 4 meters, so she needed a big space. She rented a space right in the corner actually. So we were visiting her, and then we said, let's rent a place, because the rents were extremely cheap back then. Today it's still cheap, relatively compared to the rest of the city. And then we started moving in, but we didn't have any intentions of let's form up a collective or let's use public space for exhibitions. We didn't have these intentions. Our primary objective was just to find a place so that we can work together and we can live together. And then one day, of course, before that, we become really close with the locals, with our neighbors. We become like a family, actually. This is also related with this, Middle Eastern emotional codes. Of course, it's also related because you got to know your neighbor and they got to know you. That kind of relationship. And one day we were having barbecue in one of the workshops. One of the store owners, his store is actually partly open. He's about to close now. Hüseyin Usta. One day he said. He was seeing all these, paintings, like most of them are abstract paintings, and I remember he was saying, I can do that too, like this is nothing, like you're not doing anything. Like he was kind of challenging us to do something. And then one day he said, put your artworks to the street or whatever you call them. You call art or we call it some other stuff. Put it on the street so that we can see. This was in 2016, I guess. Yeah, it was 2016 in June. We had our first public space exhibition, and then we said that let's make this, annual. So every year, at the end of every September, we have these public exhibitions that we, invite artists from Izmir, from other cities, from other countries as well. They come here to the neighborhood. They spend at least a week with us. I'm talking about something like between 20 or 10 to 20 or 30 artists actually. It's changing all the time, and it's not. They come sometimes they come like 1 week, they come like you have 20 artists here, they are working in different disciplines too. So we invite them and they somehow, connect with the neighborhood, and this also reflects to their work too. And most of these artworks are site specific, as you can see here. Like for example, this sculpture made by Ramazan Can, who is from Ankara. He made this 5 years ago. There was a carpet in between, and it's actually related with his past as an artist who's living in Ankara, this great city, the capital of Turkey, and his roots that is coming from the nomadic people. So this artwork was about his background and his relationship that he established with the city, Ankara. But then throughout the years, we lost the carpet because of rain, sun, some stuff happened. But we decided to keep this. And it goes the same for all the artworks that you see here. Like for example, this gigantic caterpillar or animal, I don't know what it is. This was from 3 years ago. Sometimes artists come to the neighborhood, they fix their artwork. But we, as the people who are living in the neighborhood, whether we are artists or local, it doesn't really matter. We do not intervene in the process of this artwork. It actually, we just want to see it. We just want to observe it, how it's going. Now this sculpture has another function. Sometimes people who are working in the neighborhood, they use this stuff for some other stuff. They hang things or they cover stuff. Recently, we started to see people, tagging this, piece of stone right now. So everything in the neighborhood, it actually works like that. So every year, as a collective, by the way, this year is our 10th year, and every year we have this word, that's stuck in our minds. This year, for example, it's fermentation. Fermentation could be a pickle, or fermentation could be fermentation of ideas, or some other stuff, or relationships. If you like, we can have a small tour, and we can end the tour in our kitchen project, and then we come back here. But they were like farms for these skyscrapers. I'm not saying that they should have farms in the city, but we know that these lands are fertile lands, and instead of keeping that somehow, they prefer to have these skyscrapers. And I know from Izmir, I grew up in the city, no one from Izmir would prefer to live in places like that. So this is totally relevant with the identity and the physical being of the city.
Are there already people living there, or
Yes,
they just business?
people are living here. And
But
now we-
coming from
other
outside.
cities outside there. Yeah. So the reason why we come here actually is related with the stuff that I mentioned. Like we are trying to create some sort of a sustainable way for collective, so that we can keep things going on without funding any, without applying to any funding and stuff. So the kitchen idea, it came out like this. We are actually, we are making food, that we are preparing food, and most of the time we are eating together. Even though we are not living as a commune, we have this, culture of sharing food. So when we were doing this, one day one of our friends said that, okay, let's try to build somewhere a place, a special kitchen for us, so that we can gather there and we can make stuff and we can cook and we can actually enjoy this stuff there. So that's how we come up with the idea of having this kitchen. And last year, there's this foundation in Istanbul, İKSV, Istanbul Cultural Foundation, and they have this funding program called Ortaklaşa, which means mutual, something like that. So we applied to that funding, and we received the funding, and we want to build the kitchen idea with this budget. So all the story actually started here. The first career that we went was here, like place. And we have some like 4 artists living in this street too, and somehow we gather in this zone actually. And for example, this do you see this window? And there are some motifs under the window. That artwork is just from 10 years ago. It's like the first. It's from the first exhibition that you can still see somehow. But that's why it's kind of an emotional zone for us. It's like a meeting point. One sculpture artist, because they were sitting in front of the shopping mall, they were there, and we have social. We also have lawyers, social, political scientists, and the architects, of course. We have video artists from every discipline. We have some sort of artists. Yeah. We also have musicians. Sometimes we have musicians, but musicians also a painter. So I don't really know which one they use. So it is totally depending on their mood most of the time. So yeah, we have at least one discipline in every artist. That's for sure. Someone invited you for the exhibition, and that someone is an artist of the Daragaç, probably. Like let's say you had this, you were a member of the exhibition. You have one right or 2 rights to invite another artist for the next year.
Okay.
And when you do that, we expect you to explain the neighborhood to these people because you're going to be their reference. And that's how we actually have this network of people. It includes lots of people that we probably haven't met yet, but that's how we do the exhibitions. Because otherwise, sometimes artists just want to, put one artwork that they already have. But we also want to, encourage new production because this neighborhood is probably different than a gallery, that's why actually. That's the reason why we don't have like open calls and stuff like that.
And what do you mean by spend time in the neighborhood for free? How many times? How many times? Because
Well, it's depending on the artist actually. If they can come, like it could be one day, it could be 1 week. There are some people who are still in the neighborhood. They came last year, so it is like it's changing because some people don't really want to do anything related with neighborhood. They heard something about the neighborhood, but it's totally different than the reality that they are in, and this is totally understandable as well because how you portray yourself in the social media, it is of course different than the reality here because we cannot reflect every reality in the social media. So that's why we have this kind of moments that we had to explain ourselves why we don't do open house. This is the reason.
So we are working, because they work also on the project that we do with the French Institute, so we are working also on a collaboration with the city of Saint-Denis, where Leila just came to represent, and they have in Saint-Denis a street art avenue that you know, and so we are trying to think an exchange and how it can work, to invite a Turkish street artist in Saint-Denis and to welcome a French street artist from Saint-Denis too, okay? So we are now starting to see.
Want you to be. Why can't you see? You got to change to love.